Intro first.
Podcast second.
Intro first and then the podcast. Do you remember? We did this a long time. Not that long.
It wasn't
ago.
that long. Your long is like Stevie's long time ago, 2 weeks ago or something.
Yeah, forever ago. We did this where we're introducing the episode.
And it worked.
It did work. We're recording the intro before we actually record the episode.
Who knows if it'll work a second time?
It will.
You think?
It will.
Let's see what happens.
I've decided it.
Here we go.
Here we go.
I'm just kidding.
The month of December is upon us, and you are listening to the Energy is Love podcast. You have the opportunity to save 10% at the Energy is Love podcast gift shop store online that doesn't exist.
Oh.
Just enter in promo code Energy is Love and save on your Energy is Love coffee mugs.
Maybe we should do that.
We totally need coffee mugs.
That's so cool. We should totally need. I love coffee. Let's do that. I want to do that.
Okay.
We're doing it. I'm going to have one. If you guys want to buy one, cool. But I'm definitely going to have some.
Just to be clear, there is no shop online where you can buy coffee mugs yet. But in the future, next Christmas, there will
2020. Now it's out there.
There'll be a promo code for the holidays. And you'll find it at energyislovepodcast.com.
I'm super excited about this, actually. We need to do it. I've got my cake cricket downstairs. I'm going to convert it. We're going to make this happen. They're going to be homemade. I need a pottery class.
Oh, God, okay. That would be so awesome if you start throwing mugs, making some pots, some pottery mugs. But, folks, you're listening to the Energy Love podcast, and this is episode 171.
When's it coming out? Pre or post Christmas?
It's going to be before Christmas. It's next week.
Well, then, are you ready for Christmas? No anxiety.
Oh, my gosh. We probably will talk about Christmas on this podcast episode that you're about to listen to, and some other highly...
or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or all the things. All the things. I want to be inclusive.
Yes.
I don't know all the things, but I honor all of you.
There you go. And good luck. This is going to be a fun episode you're about to listen to, and sit back and relax and enjoy, because we have no fucking idea what is coming up next. Here we go.
You're listening to the Energy is Love podcast.
Energy is Love.
The Energy is the Love podcast.
The Energy is Love podcast.
Energy is Love.
The Energy is Love podcast.
The podcast for the universe.
The Energy is Love podcast.
Do you have to check something now?
I just wanted to see a response from a client confirming their appointments. So let me respond.
For those of you that may just be tuning into the very first episode of the podcast that you've ever listened to, Stephanie is a licensed massage therapist here in the state of Utah. If you are so inclined, feel free to book an appointment with her at www.energieslovepodcast/ Stephanie's Massage 88massageinfo.com.
Is it a thing? Is it on there?
I think you're listed under sponsors up top. You totally are.
That's right.
You can go find it there. Click on her, and it takes you to her Facebook page and reach out and contact her. It's only local, unless you want to pay to bring her to wherever you're at.
Brandy,
Carlisle, and then she will happily show up and massage.
Brandy, you don't even have, if you just asked me to, I would do it.
Yes.
Just saying.
You'll get on a plane tomorrow.
I would probably just be able to teleport suddenly,
get
and
on
be
a
there.
plane today. Yeah, on the last episode, I don't know if you remember, babe, but we were so excited because we were going to be going to Brandy Carlisle's concert here in Salt Lake City, and now we are in mourning.
It's okay though.
It was canceled, folks.
Rescheduled.
Yes, rescheduled.
Rescheduled. Canceled is different.
Brandy was sick.
I hope she feels better.
She could not make it to the great state of Utah.
She did not ask for the tea that we talked about. I could have prevented this.
And now we don't get to go see her until February of next year. But that's okay. We don't by any means hate her. We just get...
Oh my gosh.
It's kind of frustrating. We had a fun date night planned.
We did, but I think we still had fun. I don't hold any resentments towards her, so that's why she's going to ask me to go see, because she's like, Stephanie still loves me.
But yeah, we didn't make it. It didn't happen. So now next year we're going to see Brandy twice.
See, look at that.
Yeah, next year is going to be the year of concerts for us. I know.
Are you going to throw out there what we're going to do? So our fans are, what is it called? Roadies? Is that what it is? Can follow us?
Yeah. I don't think we have roadies for the podcast.
They're just waiting for us to go somewhere.
Listeners?
Well, they're going to follow us. Like instead of like Instagram follow, they're gonna
show up.
Look, there's Craig and Steph.
I guarantee there's going to be somebody that listens to the podcast next year. Or not. There's definitely somebody going to listen
Fingers
to the podcast
crossed.
next year. If everything goes as we planned,
We are
somebody's going to
hopeful.
listen next
Put
year.
it out there. The universe will listen.
No, somebody will be at those concerts that we're at next year. So if you haven't gotten your tickets to Brandy Carlisle in Salt Lake City, do that. You'll see us there.
You can see us.
We'll be up on stage performing and then
I
get
think so.
quickly tackled by security.
It would be so worth it. I would take a tackle to stand next to Brandy.
And
That makes
then,
me sound crazy.
No, that doesn't make you
A
sound
little
crazy
bit.
at all, baby. A little bit.
A little bit.
And then we're going to Alanis Morissette. She just announced she's going on tour next year in conjunction with the 25th anniversary of Jagged Little Pill.
I cannot wrap my head. I keep seeing that. I'm like, no, those numbers are incorrect.
That means I was
It has not
13
been
when it
that
came
long.
out. She was one of two first CDs that I got. I think she may have technically been the first CD that I got, was Jagged Little Pill.
Yeah. Was it? Yeah. I'm trying to think. CD or tape? What did I have? No, it was CD.
It was a CD for
was
me.
CD.
And I had a Discman.
Yes. I had a Discman.
Mm-hmm.
Those things, man, you could not dance and listen to it. You had to be careful.
Yes.
You could walk at a very steady pace, which was really easy for me.
But we have an amazing trip planned next year
Mm-hmm.
for our 5th year anniversary because Steph and I are going to be married for 5 years next year. And we're going to see Alanis on Tuesday in Seattle. And then on Saturday, also in Washington State, we are going to see Brandy. In conjunction, Sheryl Crow is coming with Brandy.
Bam.
And who else was coming with Alanis? Garbage is coming with Alanis and Liz Phair. Essentially, everything in life that we love and care about is going to, with the exception of our children, I suppose. But
You know, just the important things.
so tickets for all of those shows are available online at Energy Zone Podcast.
So I really hope, like, if you are fans of them, like, hashtag them in this and let them hear the way that we support them. And all we need is, like, we don't need, just give us, like, have them give us a heart or something, or a thanks for the support. Can't wait to see you guys. I will melt.
Give
I
us
will
a
lose
heart.
it. A heart.
I just
like a heart
pictured
emoji.
A
Like
cooler
I love you.
on our front porch.
That's morbid. Don't do that. That's,
But you should go to those shows if you're a fan of our podcasts, and then we can hang out.
that'd be awesome. Maybe. Are we taking gear?
I don't know. I don't
Because
think so.
we're gonna fly instead
Yeah,
of
I
road
thought
trip
about
this
it.
one.
We could definitely take our gear and record, but
Yeah.
we got lots of other fun things to
We
do.
do.
'cause
And
it's
if we're
our
driving, it's a
anniversary.
thing, but not for.
Yeah.
I know, but it's so fun. I have a question.
I have an answer.
Okay, good, because I need one. Are you ready?
Yes.
So you said it's on Tuesday.
Yes.
You were talking about it being on Wednesday before and us leaving Wednesday. So are we going after the concert, or is it actually on Tuesday?
Alanis is on Wednesday.
You said Tuesday.
I know.
So it's Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on
Okay.
Wednesday, June something or another. It's the first Wednesday in June.
All right.
And yeah,
Okay. I was
definitely.
nervous.
No, I made
Like
sure.
you made plans for Wednesday.
I double checked and
Okay.
made sure for everything.
Did you make a list?
And I have checked it twice.
Who's naughty and nice?
Bend over and I'll show you.
Oh, okay.
So dumb.
I'm like, let's plus. Now I can't talk. You made my words jumble. Let's press pause for a minute.
I don't think we're going to. I think we're gonna do it live. Do it live. We're gonna keep recording. Are you guys ready? Here we go.
Oh, no.
So
The snow's melting.
Yeah.
I'm sad. We had so much snow.
yes, and now it's gone.
It's not all gone, but it's going. And I really liked it. It was so pretty. There was so much snow.
Baby, I want to talk about something really important.
Okay.
So for the fast, for the past several weeks here at the Salazar household, we have been having a very chronic issue that has really only been driving me crazy
Oh, God.
and insane. And
Oh, God,
everybody
here it
else has
comes.
been oblivious
We've
to
adapted.
it.
We have not been oblivious. We have just
And
adapted.
uncaring. But this has been the literal bane of my existence for probably damn near a month. And what it was our stupid motherfucking toilet that would not stop running. So what would happen in the middle of nowhere, out of nowhere, the toilet would just it would just run for 10 seconds, 5 seconds, just real briefly. So clearly there was an issue, right? And after scouring my brain for all the plumbing knowledge that I have, as well as online and YouTube and Google.
And a few separate attempts.
Thanks, babe.
Oh,
Talking
sorry.
about the failed attempts at
No.
my inability to fix toilets.
I was not. I was talking about you being in the arena, and failure was not a failure. You kept going. You did not let that toilet defeat you. You are the victor.
So replacing a toilet handle, a flapper. I had to replace, not had to, but I replaced the flapper. I did a couple of different things, tightening this, trying that, adjusting here, there, and the other. And it just seemed to get worse. I don't know if you realized that, but
I don't think it got worse.
it was definitely
I think it
worse.
got louder to you.
No,
because it hit that nerve and was like, look.
Yeah.
It didn't really change.
it got worse. It was happening like at least every 30 minutes, if not sooner. Whereas before it was like every hour.
There was no change.
So
He just was.
The toilet gods
Obsessed with
decided to fuck with me for an entire month and ruin my sanity. And finally, the stars aligned yesterday. And I made the big commitment of buying $20 worth of replacement parts instead of $6 worth of replacement parts.
It was a hard leap.
And
It was a leap of faith right there.
Spent an hour as opposed to 5 minutes and fixed that cocksucking piece of shit toilet. And it no longer runs.
Yeah, but now I don't know what to do. It's so quiet.
I swear to God, if you fuck that toilet up. There were so many moments where I was just like, I'm taking a fucking hammer to this.
I thought you were going to.
We're done with this toilet. You're shitting in a hole now. We are finished. I hate everything about this toilet. I want to blow up the entire house surrounding the toilet and then just walk away and be like, what, motherfucker?
I
what
had some
happens.
suggestions of just turning off the water in there and not using it, using the other ones. And then you thought at one point the lid might be a culprit. So I'm like, fine, leave the lid off. It's fine. Like I was trying so hard. I thought toilet was going to go boom. I thought you were going to lose it.
It was very hit or miss. Yeah. It was real touchy there for quite a while. Several weeks where that toilet was on thin ice and was about to fucking get murdered.
It was fun because when you'd hear it go off, you would see like the anger rise in you, and you're
in
like,
the middle of the night, it would wake me up in the middle of the night. I would be laying in bed, and suddenly I would hear it fucking run, like laughing in the distance. Fuck you, Craig.
I would get so scared when I heard it. Depending on the mood we're at, I'm like, oh my God, did he hear it? Is it going to piss him off? Is he going to lose it? Is this where he goes and tips the toilet over?
You can go back and listen to like the last 4 episodes of the podcast, and you can hear it. Because I had to tune it out while I was editing as well. Like, not only when we would record episodes, but also when I would go back and edit the episodes. Motherfucking toilet running in the background. So, literally, I had to turn off a part of my brain. Otherwise, it was going to explode. The toilet was going to be demolished. Like, literally, the house was close to being burned down because of the goddamn toilet.
Thank God you fixed it.
Yes. Yeah. And literally, it took $20 and maybe 45 minutes worth of work. It was not difficult. But it brought up something as I was thinking about it.
Oh, what did it bring up? I'm interested.
Besides anger, hate, and rage and vengefulness of toilets and porcelain. I was thinking about all the different things in my life that I do. All the different like skill sets that I have that... Like I'm a jack of trades, right? Like
it's called a jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades, yeah.
There you go.
But I was thinking about that. I was thinking about like adults, and rather than I wanted to talk about it with you, babe, and rather than thinking about it in the sense of like man or woman or things that are typically male-oriented things, or whatever the case may be.
Okay.
Because remember how we talked about how we just kind of want to separate
people?
From that dichotomy and just people, right?
I was like, I fixed a furnace. Don't forget that.
Exactly.
So people.
So what are some things that you have had to learn to do in order to take care of business that you necessarily were never taught, that you necessarily aren't that like interested in, but just shit that you had to learn on the fly in order to take care of business.
Fix a furnace. Keep our family from freezing to death.
Yeah, that was last winter.
Yeah. I would like to say fix a dishwasher, but I broke the dishwasher. The dishwasher needed a fix, and then I finished it. So you had to get another dishwasher.
Well, the
that
dishwasher
count.
needed to be fixed.
I learned how to get your husband to buy you a new dishwasher.
Exactly.
Bam.
You nailed that.
Nobody can teach you that shit. Let's see. I don't know. What have I'm suddenly feeling very small. When we fixed the wiring in the Camry, that was a big help on that. I had a lot of things that came up. My suggestions were good. Well, God damn it.
There's lots. You're just not thinking of them. You're
I
thinking
can't
too
be
hard.
because I know that there's things that like cook a meal I'm not very good at. That hasn't really come to fruition yet, but I feel like I've taken care of some things.
You definitely have.
Shit. I'm going to start like writing them down and be like, hey, listeners, this is what I did today that was worthwhile.
Well, as I was thinking about it, like so many people, when I went to Home Depot yesterday or whenever it was that I picked up the replacement parts for the toilet, literally, babe, literally. As I was walking in, I saw our plumber. I saw the guy that we've had come over and do plumbing work for us.
We didn't have the right tools. You didn't have the right tools.
So literally, as I was walking in, I see the plumber guy and it flashes in my head. I'm like, fuck, just have him come fix your fucking toilet so you don't have to play this game anymore.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no, it's okay. I can do this one.
Yes, and you did.
But there's so many people in the world.
Do not fault the people that call the plumber.
I'm not faulting the people that call the plumber.
I fixed the furnace because we couldn't afford otherwise.
Well, that's the thing.
It wasn't like I chose to just figure it out myself. It was like, we don't have money and we're going to freeze. So.
That's what dawned on me was oftentimes poor people, because we're poor, we have to figure shit out and make it work because otherwise we don't have the money to get it done. So you had to fix the furnace. I was gone. I was traveling. The furnace literally stopped working. Knock on wood, it's fucking fine now.
Knock on wood, I did a damn good job.
You did do a damn good job.
However, I did have, I had people that were kind enough to, nobody came over. I did it. But I had people that were kind enough to share the information that I wasn't afraid to ask and YouTube. And I had people that were very compassionate about, this is the information I have. I will share this information with you. So it was a team effort. However, I did it.
You did it.
I took it apart. I did all the things.
But I don't think rich people do that. I think rich people just fucking get shit fixed by people and pay them to come do it. So I was thinking about, I'm a plumber, right? I can fix toilets. I could even install a toilet if I needed to. I've never done it. I'm trying to think. Maybe I've done it. I don't know. But I can do things like that.
Yeah.
I'm a mechanic. I can change the oil in our cars. I can replace spark plugs. I can
modulators.
You're pointing.
No, I'm trying to show the window up and down thing that you fixed.
Oh yeah,
and the lock, the locky thingy.
Dismantle internal.
I'm clearly a mechanic of a lock thingy.
I can do mechanical things to some degree, right?
Yeah.
I'm also a. I wish I was more of a carpenter /
you and me both.
Woodworking guy kind of guy. I wish I could. I wish I was a sheetrocker.
You did good. You did so good. You had some help, but you did so good.
But there's lots of little things like that I've had to learn over the course of my life, and the ones that I rattled off are stereotypically more masculine. But then I was thinking I had to figure out fucking child rearing on the fly to some extent, right?
Yeah.
And that one's typically more feminine, even though we're separating ourselves from those labels. But I had to figure out.
Not that we no longer identify. We're just saying things aren't
black and white.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just people.
People.
But I had to figure out how to raise children, and not just be a parent and raise children, but things like caring for babies and stuff that's usually. But that was all real instinctual for me as well. But all these little things that over the course of my life, I've had to pick up and learn as a way of I don't want to say survival, but kind of survival. I mean, I think about the toilet and the toilet's not really an example of survival, but it kind of is, having the plumber come fixing
Yeah,
it.
because our other bathrooms, we weren't going to be okay. It was
We do live in a house with
it was
3
definitely
bathrooms.
life or death, let me tell you.
Shut up. But it's interesting, right? When I thought about it, because I'm not a plumber, I'm not a mechanic, I'm not a what other kind of I can.
What about electrician?
Oh yeah, I can
Yeah.
do some electrical work.
Our
around
plugs
the
work
house.
fine.
But I'm not any of those things. I am just me.
You're a tinkerer.
I'm a dude.
You're a tinker dude. I was going to say a Tinkerbell, but you're a tinker dude.
Tinkerbell.
You're a tinker dude.
I'll be a Tinkerbell.
Let me think about. I don't know. I definitely have had stuff that has come up that, I guess I get to throw I learned how to raise, care for children and babies because, humanity and all. But I think one that is actually a survival thing, like our own survival, is how to not get yourself murdered when you live in a house of teenage girls. Like, we definitely picked that shit up on the fly. Like, nobody showed us. They just sat back and watched. They're like, haha. Like, your mom didn't know. I feel like my mom set me up. She's like, good luck.
Yeah, my mom didn't know.
Yeah.
She
So
never had
I
girls.
think, we've survived so far. So I think we had to pick that up on the fly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of.
And keep the little brother alive.
Keep the little.
Like, we learned that shit on the fly. That was very much a survival instinct. What else do you got?
Can you think of anything else that you have had to pick up over the
Oh, no,
course
this
of your
is
life?
definitely like how to make sure that men know how wonderful they are. No, I've got nothing. I know there's so much. I know there's things, but there's also, like, I'm not sure how much of it has been survival things that I've been actually pretty lucky with things. I can say, oh, I've learned how to shut off my emotions in a traumatic experience, so that's my survival, but that's not what we're talking about. I've been pretty lucky. And then there are things that I have learned over sheer stubbornness. Like, I will do that myself. I will figure this out. Nobody's going to show me. I will make this happen. And then sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes we get a new dishwasher.
Sometimes we get a new dishwasher. Sometimes you finish putting the dryer door back on because, things happen, right? We work together.
Yes, we are
Like
a team.
the car, the lights, that was a team effort kind of thing. Like, there's also things that I can see people. I learned to not know everything also. Like, when you can see somebody trying to do something and you can see kind of the situation, like the little alteration that needs to be made, and sometimes just not.
That's a massive
saying
skill that you
anything,
have
just
developed in
letting
the
them-
course of our relationship.
I can think of a few, but I'm just not going to name them.
There's so many
So-
of those circumstances where I am in the zone working, and if anybody gets in my way, then they're going to end up like the toilet did.
Fixed and running like a champ.
No, there's another thing.
Okay.
This is also going back to, like, you talked about shutting off emotions and way of coping with trauma and things like that.
That was my survival technique. I had it. I lived.
I think you and I both developed the survival technique of being able to read people really, really well as a way to interpret whether or not we were safe in a moment or in an experience or in our environment at the time.
And how to behave towards that person if you were not safe to stay safe.
Yes.
Yep.
And that is totally a survival mechanism that is developed in early childhood for traumatic childhoods and experiences.
So am I supposed to be grateful for that? I'm like, yeah, thanks for that technique I now have.
I like it.
I wish I did not have to have it.
Well,
So I'm maybe a little bitter about that. I'm like, fuck you very much.
thank you very much. It's a good skill set to have.
Yeah,
It is.
I know. It's not a good skill set to need.
Correct. Yeah.
There you go.
But at the same time, like, our ability to read a situation, to read people, right?
Yeah.
To know when things are
Positives.
going to go south and remove ourselves from those situations and those environments and things like that.
Okay. I'm bringing in the positive.
There's lots.
I'm
There's lots of
feeling the
positive
grateful.
things. And yeah.
Okay. So this will tell you how much that is difficult for me and how quickly I will get out of a situation. Like, we're talking about trauma a little bit and I'm checking out and I'm noticing that the middle of the bed, the design kind of looks like a vulva. I'm like, look at that. We sleep under a vagina every night. It's kind of beautiful. See it?
I
Can
do
you see
see
it
it.
now? Have you seen it before?
I don't think so.
See? That became my focal point in an uncomfortable conversation. I'm like, are you going to take a picture?
I am.
Should I move it? You got it.
We'll take a picture of the comforter that we sleep under every night.
From now, you got to see it from this angle because we're coming at it from the side.
It's pretty.
It is pretty. So you're going to have to, so they can...
We'll
if they have to tilt their heads, they're not going to get it. So you're going to have to tilt. They might.
We'll
I don't know.
let them use their imagination.
Okay. You all know what one looks like. So get creative. I'm assuming.
Yeah. Unless our young listeners. Did everybody see recently what YouTube did? No. I told you about that.
You said they did something and I was like, okay.
So we have a YouTube channel for the podcast and all of our episodes get uploaded there. And they recently changed some of their... I don't even know what they would call them, like their user agreements or just some of the rules and regulations for YouTube. And all videos now have to have the designation of whether or not they're like kid safe or kid approved.
Yes.
In a sense.
So these are not.
No, these are not.
Yeah.
So if you're a child listening to this podcast.
You checked the wrong box. I'm going to tell your mom.
And we're talking about the vagina blanket that we sleep under.
Oh, God.
You probably don't know what one looks like. Unless you're a girl. And then maybe even then you
quit
don't.
talking to the young listeners. It's weird. You guys are not supposed to be listening. This is good information and all, and you'll get there, but
turn the podcast off.
Oh, yeah. We say the bad words.
We say all the bad words. Should we say them all right now?
No. Now I'm scared that there's little ones listening and I don't want to talk anymore.
I had another good question for you.
I love you. Go play in the dirt. It's good for you. What?
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, take a deep breath.
Oh, wait. Big question for me. Hold on. Let the fear set in. Okay. Let me get totally ready to either fight, flight, or freeze. Okay, good. I'm activated. Go.
You're cute. Have you ever thought about writing a book?
Oh, yeah. I've started several.
Tell me.
No.
Tell me what they're about.
I don't remember.
You're so full of shit.
I will tell you about my first one.
Okay.
My very first one. And this is how I do things. Okay. This is how my brain works, which is why I've never completed anything along those lines. My very first one was an assignment that we had to write a page on something Christmassy. And it was like a report, but of our own creation. And I used to get a Christmas bear. You know, the Christmas bears you see, like for those of us that have Walmart and stuff. I used to get a Christmas bear every Christmas. And I loved the Christmas bears. And for a while it just like fell apart because, you know, I drop things. That happens. Sometimes I'm just lucky to get out of bed for the day and that's okay. Some days I don't get out of bed. I don't mean drop things literally. I mean, shut down and failed. I failed to keep things going at times when, I don't know, emotions suck sometimes. I feel like I'm talking really fast.
Yeah,
I don't know how to slow down.
Tell us about this book.
So it was a simple assignment, but I decided to do it like I brought my Christmas bears to life. And so I gave them each their individual personalities and I started, and it wasn't enough for a page because it just lit up in me. And so I just I just typed and typed and typed and typed on this computer, not a typewriter. But it was just like, maybe it wasn't elementary then. It feels like it was elementary. It was like Oregon Trail, kind of like computer-y. You know, our young listeners now have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, back in the 80s.
And then I remember asking the teacher, I'm like, I want to finish it. So I can't, I don't want to turn in just one. Is it okay if I finish it? And then I'll turn it in. And she said yes, which meant I could go as much as I want. So there were so many, I think this is probably the biggest one that I ever did. There were so many chapters, but it took too long. And then I started stressing about turning it in because I couldn't do it till it was completed. End of the story. I never finished it and never turned in the assignment because it was never done. So bam, that's how I do it.
That's a great Christmas book, though.
It was cute. It would have been cute. I'm almost kind of sad. Like, I wonder what I would have wrote. Like,
let's rekindle it, baby.
I don't know where it's on the
in
old
your
doc.
head. It's there.
Okay, well, I will do some full moon, like second night of full moon rituals tonight and see if I can clear it out and bring it forward.
That's such a cool idea.
It's not there. It's gone.
That's cool, though.
Yeah. So that was my first attempt.
And that's like elementary. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
What else?
What else?
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Have you ever thought about writing like I don't know if it's biography or autobiography?
Okay, that's weird. That's the last thing that I started. And then I stopped. And I also wrote on there how it was amazing that it was July of 18. It might have been 2018.
Okay.
Shut up.
July of 1803.
It was because I wrote on there that I had this idea I was going to do it. It was going to be my journey. And I started writing it. And then I put in there that how I procrastinate and how cool it was that I had the thought and I didn't procrastinate it, that I started going and I started typing. And then I get to, when I write, it's like when I journal, like if I'm texting you or writing a note, I don't have a need for detail. But in fact, it's almost impossible for me to get a lot of detail. It's like, I am fine. How are you? It's almost robotic. I do better at times than others. But when I'm like journaling, that's one of the reasons I hate to journal, because I feel like every single detail needs to be in there. The descriptions are, and then it just takes forever. And then something that I wanted to sit down and write out a paragraph of thoughts is like 6 pages in, and you don't even know what the point is because I wrote so much. Anyway, so I was getting into detail on thing and so proud of myself for following through, because this time was going to be different. I was going to follow through and not procrastinate. And that's where I left it.
Was it in journal form or were you typing?
I don't remember.
You do remember.
I do remember, but I'm not giving you any other
goodness.
breadcrumbs to follow.
I don't need them. I can see them all.
No, you can't.
Yes,
Stop
I can.
it. I feel
you
like
and I are so in love. I can
exposed.
see the inside of your brain.
Okay,
and
so
it's beautiful.
So why don't we go and turn it to you, even though I already know the answer? What about your writing?
I think you know the answer.
Okay, let's see if I'm wrong.
No, the reason I bring it up is because I was chatting with my friend this week.
Yeah.
And he's thinking about
Hi, friend.
he's thinking about writing a book.
Does he know Barb?
He does know Barb. He's a big fan of Barb's. But then I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, I wonder how many people have that urge to write something, and not just like, but to write a book, to write a novel, right? What is that driving force, you think, of telling stories and writing things down, and why do we have it? And because yes, I've written. What's yours?
We'll finish.
Well, I've written a lot. I've written things over the years. I used to love to write in English back in high school. Mm-hmm. We'd get those assignments for the paper or whatever we had to write, and I would just tell stories. I would just write big, long narratives and big stories, and my English teacher was super cool about just grading them as they were rather than the fact that it had nothing to do with the assignment that was given. And I've fucked around with, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to write this, I'm going to write that, it's going to be my story. Do you remember when I was thinking about writing like my experience as a police officer and kind of the story of becoming a police officer and those stories and things like that, and what cops really deal with and what it was like? And
I remember, and I can remember about all of the stories, all of your writings that you have started, that you've let me read. And I probably remember some of the stuff that you don't even remember.
I guarantee you do.
Yeah, I love it. I love your expressiveness.
What do you think is what's your reason for wanting to do that?
Mine is, there's like, I can think of a child and the creative juices that I loved to flow out. Because when you're a kid, you're creative. You haven't learned all the way yet to be shut down, and that you're not. So you still have all those creative things. And I also liked the fantasy land. It was also a disconnect because I could go there. And that's how I am with reading. If I get I go to that place and I am no longer in my room or wherever. But I think mine is a need to pull the stuff out of me and get it out. And that's the way that it can come out. But then there's fear of exposure. Like if somebody reads it, they're going to know and they're going to use it against me. So that kind of fear. But pull it out to be seen, even though that's terrifying. And the thought that maybe somebody out there is as lost in the exact same way as that I am. And if they read it, maybe they won't feel so alone. However, they never get to read it.
Well, we do this podcast for that.
There you go. Christmas bears are real.
Because you expose a lot on this podcast.
I do that. Thank you for that.
For people to relate to and hear. And they do.
Yeah, maybe.
We get lots of feedback on how impactful these episodes of this show are.
There's so much more. I just haven't said it yet.
There is so much
dun,
more.
Dun, dun.
How much more do you think we're going to reveal?
I think shit's coming out. Talking about toilets, right? I feel like not in 2019. I don't know. There's part of me that feels like I'm going to be an open book because the more I let out, the more free I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter if anybody's listening or not. It doesn't matter if anybody resonates or not. It's cool if it happens. But just saying it out loud and saying it out loud where there's the potential to be heard, where it's not hiding, is very traumatizingly liberating. It's scary as shit, but it's how you take a breath.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think everything's gonna come out. One way or the other.
I agree. One day.
Yeah, one day.
One day it's all coming.
Not today. Don't even think it's gonna be at the end of the episode. This is not a hook line. It is not happening right now.
I loved when whenever it was last year, 2 years ago, I don't remember when it was, when you were like, why don't you just write? Because I was in the space of getting stuck trying to tell these stories about being a police officer. And some of them were like, not some of them, all of them were actual accounts of things that had gone on and things that I had experienced. And I was getting bogged down in the minutia of it, of trying to write about it and describe it. And I also found myself writing them almost like I would write the reports for the events that used to happen, because everything that you used to do as a police officer had to be documented. And so the reports sounded a very specific way of on 12/13 of 2019 at approximately 2200 hours, I arrived at 454 East, 100 West. And upon stepping out of my vehicle, I heard 3 loud booms that sounded like gunshots. And from my experience, I believed them to be a rifle, of an assault weapon type style rifle. I immediately, all those.
Yeah, I was like, do I stop you or let you go? What's happening? Are we?
So that's the type of writing that a report would sound like. So I found myself stuck in the minutia of that and trying to write it from a narrative perspective and telling the story of those experiences. And it was getting really bogged down. And then you're like, why don't you just write? You can just write fiction. And I'm like, I can just write fiction. And then you remember the story that I started.
Yes, I do.
I love that story.
I love that story too. And I still remember where you left off. And I'm like, what the fuck happens? Let's do this.
Yeah. So I started to just write a fiction story of stuff. And I loved it. We got maybe 2 or 3 chapters into it. And I had... You think so?
I think so. I don't know.
Anyways...
I think so, yeah.
I'll probably go back to that one day.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Probably write some more things there. But for me, I think writing is that creative process. I love sitting down and just flowing with words and letting those thoughts create and tell the story as it comes. But I also think there's, for me, a part of it that's see me, validate me. And I'm worthy. I'm worth something.
Yeah.
I will carry on even after I'm gone if I have a book or a novel or something for people to, it's just all for me.
Well, you are a podcast.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's out there. It's digital. It's not going anywhere.
It's digital. It's been uploaded into the collective consciousness.
Right. It's out there. I'm pretty sure that it's already being shot through the universe and it's on its way to...
It is the podcast for the universe.
See, damn, look at that. That's we planned that. That was good.
Somebody planned that. I always wanted to be famous, though.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's part of I'm going to write a book, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I always wanted to be famous.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, there's probably some sort of psychological reason behind that. And, being the youngest and not being seen and all those kind of things. But I always wanted to be famous. And for a long time, I convinced myself that it wasn't a matter of I want it. That's what's going to happen. It's not impossible. It's not only possible, but that's the trajectory that that is going to happen. It's just a matter of time. And sometimes I still think that. Every now and then that thing pops into my head of oh yeah, you're totally going to be famous still. It's just a matter of time. It just didn't happen when you thought it was going to happen, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It just hasn't happened yet, and it's totally still going to happen. But as I've grown, because I'm a grown man, obviously, because I fix toilets. But as I've grown, I've realized that, yeah, I still can connect to that part of me that's like a kid and wants to be an actor and wants to be a celebrity and wants to be famous. But fame has nothing to do with it, right? It has to do more with like the part of me that still thinks that I'm going to be famous one day isn't because I want to be famous and I want to be seen by so many people and I want to be validated by so many people. Like it's the part of me that knows you and I at some point are going to be living a life of, I mean, we are already.
We're going to call people to come fix our toilets.
It's not a matter of we're going to call people to come fix our toilets.
Like, we're going to know. We're going to have people
like
to call the people.
Like we're going to have our cabin in Montana.
Yeah.
And we're going to have land.
Montana?
And we're going to have.
That's where you decided?
Well, that's where the cabin is, but that's not where we live all the time. Yeah. That's just where the cabin is with the horses and the huskies and the mountains and the pond and the big porch. But that's what it is. It's like eventually
Can we go now? Sorry, eventually.
Eventually that life will get to that point that in my mind is the point that you get to when you're suddenly a celebrity and you're famous. And so it's less about the fame and celebritydom, and more about eventually my life's going to get to that point. And the truth and the honesty is it really kind of already is there.
Yeah.
I just am slowly recognizing it more and more and more.
So you think you need to be famous and in the spotlight to make enough money to get to the mountains and blend in with nature. So you need to be in the spotlight to be secluded? That's right.
No, silly.
I think I just analyzed you.
It's about the money.
Yeah.
You know, it's about what freedom will come when we have the money. But the fact is, we don't have money right now, but I feel freer than I ever have before.
Me too. We have enough.
We have more than enough.
Yeah, like our bills are getting paid. We're doing all right. Yeah, there's some stressors. We're not always sure how that, but
yeah, it's more than enough.
Like, you know, it could be better. It's a little hard. And there's some
could be worse.
There's some things that aren't exactly going as planned and as maybe creating a little bit of a trench, but we're doing great.
We are doing
We're doing great.
And that's the part that I want to focus on. It's not, I need to be famous any longer, because I don't care. I really don't care. Excuse me. And then the freedom that comes with fame, even though you listen to famous people and celebrities talk and they're not, they're miserable and shitty and they're isolated and they're alone and all that kind of bullshit too. It's so hard to be famous. But you and I are already in the midst of living the life that we want to live. And so often people don't get to that until a certain point in their life, or perhaps never.
Yeah.
But it really feels like you and I are living the life that we want to live. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, me too. Are we stopping?
No, we're not stopping. I have something else.
You have something else? Man, you are on it.
It was yesterday. What was the the name of that movie is Just Yesterday.
It's not just yesterday. It's yesterday.
Yesterday. Go see that movie, folks. It's a great movie.
You had a little similarity there with your mom trying to find out the movie about the piano.
Shut up.
It was awesome.
So yesterday.
Guess what the movie was called?
The Piano?
Good job, babe.
Or was it?
Go ahead and read your notes. No, that was good. I can't wait for you to go back and listen to what just happened there.
Okay. So I found this thing on social media. It was on Instagram, somebody's account.
I forgot.
And
I'm excited.
It's just this picture that has a bunch of different quotes. But the idea behind it is there's so many quotes that we I'm trying to remember.
Let me tell you what I remember.
Oh, okay. So the idea behind it is these are things that would be told to men. These are sayings and quotes that would be told to men and then, or to boys, right? Mm-hmm. If you want to be a man, this is what men are supposed to be. How to be a good man.
This is how to be a good man.
All these kind of different things. And they just flipped everything to where it's instead of men, it's boys or girls. It's girls or women. So it's reversed. And I fucking love it. It makes me, it makes my brain hurt trying to read some of them. A real woman can handle a strong man. A weak woman will say he has an attitude. So like if this was for the boy, a real man can handle a strong woman. A weak man will say she's a bitch. These aren't like mic dropping things, babe. What?
I'm just waiting. Like, you're looking at me for this response. I'm just.
Bam, mic drop.
You read
So
better
profound.
ones yesterday. I'm ready for the good ones that you read.
A real woman can't stand seeing her man hurt. She's careful with her decisions and actions, so she never has to be responsible for his pain.
Yeah, that pretty much happens though. So women pretty much do that.
But
so they listened. So keep going.
A real man can't stand seeing his woman hurt. He's careful with his decisions and actions, so he never has to be responsible for her pain.
Okay, so I got the flip. Thank you. I'm just saying, yes, women do that. Read the good ones. You're reading the ones that are like, there's also the smartass in me that says that's why men are narcissistic and don't take responsibility for anything. I'm just kidding. Women are just as narcissistic. I was just trying to make a joke.
A real man doesn't need you. He wants you. And if you start slacking, he can be content without you.
Give me your phone.
Hold on.
I'm going to find the ones that you read that were like profound. You're finding the ones that are like, fuck you, women. Yeah, women have already been in that space. Let me see your phone.
Hold on. Here's another one.
No, you're sucking at this.
Go ahead. Read that. I was getting to the ones.
Were you?
I couldn't remember. Go ahead and read
That
it.
was obvious.
I couldn't remember which ones I read to you
it's
yesterday.
only one thing? I thought it was like a whole page.
No, it's just that picture with those quotes. What's the upper left-hand corner one? I think
That's
you
the
liked
one
that
I was going to read. And this one was like, oh my goodness. Like, every woman has two opinions. Either stand up and be the woman he needs you to be, or sit the fuck down so he can see the woman standing behind you. And to that, I also say, like, if to boys and girls, stand up and be the woman or the man or the person you are. And if they don't like that, they're going to, like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like this is so, I don't like any of these being said to boys or to girls.
Right? I hate them all.
It's just.
The part of that one that is like.
Here's one that is good.
Okay.
Sorry. Teacher, and it goes the same, but it's also, I think the genders should be wiped from it and it should be people. So the idea is, it says, teach your daughter to respect men. She's watching, she's waiting, she'll listen. Yes. Teach
Your children.
your children to respect people. They're watching, they're waiting, they'll listen. Like that, when you say that, that's beautiful. But also teach them to respect themselves. So
I hate the one that you read first that is sit the fuck down.
sit the fuck down. Well, here's the thing to that. I don't like any of it, but there is the thing of property.
Mm-hmm.
Is where even though I don't really like you, maybe I don't love you, and maybe I'm looking for something better, I don't want anybody else to come in because it's property, it's a collection thing that you do have some of the personalities like that. So that one hit as in you can let people go, you can let people go. And if you are just using them to make you feel better in that moment while you're really searching for what's real, fucking don't. But so I kind of liked the harshness of that one just because, but not for the men and women, but just as the release of people. Like, don't collect people. Share emotions, but don't collect people.
I hate this one. You don't just catch a guy like him. If you are lucky enough to have him, it's because he let you. Remember that.
Why are we saying any of these to any
Fucking
of
hate that one.
our
I hate
kids?
the idea that girls are like the concept behind like any of that is just shitty. And reverse, right? If this was to a boy, you don't just catch a woman like her. If you are lucky enough to have her,
Because
it's
you're
because
garbage.
she let you. Like, fuck off,
Right?
bitch. You didn't fucking let me
Fuck
do
off dick.
shit, right?
Fuck off dick.
I'm a fucking good
Fuck off bitch, fuck
guy.
off dick.
And like, you didn't let me, like, I hate all of those things. Yeah. I don't know.
It is such, people are property. Everyone else is a prize and you are worthless, is what it's saying all over.
So we're doing a
Everything.
terrible job of just talking about people instead of men and women.
You brought up the
I
men,
know.
like, hello.
But this makes me think about like the message that oftentimes I think good men get, right? So if you're raised up by some narcissistic, masochistic fucking piece of shit dude that treats women like garbage, then this doesn't necessarily apply to you because you're probably going to learn those type of behaviors
Maybe.
and actions.
Or maybe you saw exactly the way you did not want to go. Maybe you saw your mother or your sisters being treated horribly and you made that decision right there that you were never going to be that kind of person.
Correct.
Thank you.
But what I'm talking about is like just normal, everyday growing up in society. If you're kind of exposed to things as a boy and as a young man.
As a woman, young girl. I'm sorry, I thought we were doing people.
We are doing people, but this is bringing up some women stuff that I want to express.
I'm listening.
The idea that somehow we should just be eternally grateful that women acknowledge us, or that we should be lucky enough to have a woman by our side, or don't fuck this up. You're going to fuck this up and she's going to leave you if you're a piece of shit, or if you do this wrong, or if you say this wrong, right? That somehow it's completely like there's two things. Either you're good and you get a woman, or you're bad and you lose that woman. And it's completely up to her, right? Nobody should have that responsibility. The woman shouldn't carry the weight and the burden of that. And it's so asinine for the man to think that, oh my God, I can't do anything wrong. Otherwise she's not going to love me anymore. She's going to hate me. She's going to leave me. That's what some of these, I think, are saying in a sense where, I'm scared now. I upset you. What do you feel?
No, I'm just trying really hard to listen.
Okay.
Keep going.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, believe me. Yes, I understand what you were saying.
So
I'm just trying to listen from your perspective.
Well, what is your perspective?
Like how I'm glad that you realize that this is upsetting. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that you realize that that is not something that men should feel and be told. I'm glad you realize it's upsetting because this is how women have lived the entire fucking time. And by the way, not only can you not do anything to upset, but you better have everything ready for them. You better not age. You better always want sex. You better never get fat. You better do all these things and be ready at any time. I'm just going to get me a girlfriend and that'll be fine. Like all of these things. And if that's your agreement, it's fine, whatever. But we're going off of the stereotypical one. So it is the exact same. So men are allowed to at least age and change, but be good. And women are not. Like how many men are going and getting facial pills and yes, it happens. But I'm sorry. Are there any surgeries to lift a man's balls back up into a decent area? No, but you have any kind of surgery you want for a woman's breast to get it back to where it looks youthful without anything. They haven't even thought about maybe, let's check out a ball sack and see if maybe that needs to be lifted or made bigger. No, like fuck off.
It's a sign of superiority when your balls swing low. And they wobble to and fro.
Like some cultures, women are with many goats, right? So that I feel bad that I had to interject my opinion because you're feeling that and you should feel it because it's bullshit. Men should not be subjected to, they have to be good enough or they're going to be left because they're not worthy. But we've been there for a really, really long time. And women now really it hasn't been that long since we've had the freedom to even divorce. Like they could do pretty much whatever they want because a divorce was worse. It was either not granted, which some religions still make it fucking, have to get, anyways, another tangent. But a woman being able to be granted a divorce now is something that hasn't always been there. And I'm sorry, I just heard that I could hear myself better, so I haven't been talking into the mic very well. So that's kind of like, it's like, I'm so glad that you're upset by it. Because it needs to change for everybody. This is a people thing. But then I have a little bit of a voice in me that's like, yeah, welcome to the world. I'm glad you can see it.
I think it's been
hard to...
I think in some degree it's been this way for men for a really long time too, dear.
Okay.
Think about the stories that have been told of like the noble man, the knight in shining armor, the do you know what I mean? Those stories, those tales, those myths that have been told over and over and over again, they influence culture and society in the way that we view things and the way that things become a standard or a stereotype.
The most loved stories are the man from the wrong side of the tracks and the wealthy, privileged girl that somehow falls, but this little one has to prove himself because he's not good enough. You have to be suit, you have to be corporate. I agree completely. Men have had this story beaten down from a long time. They don't want the shit shoveler. They don't want the stable boy. They want the knight, the prince, the king.
Yeah.
I agree. It's both.
It is both, and it's silly.
It is.
So, like, what would be the new story for people rather than men or women? Because the fact
Who
is,
do you love?
Yeah,
Who do you love? What does it matter what they do?
it doesn't matter what they do. But I'm sitting here thinking about, like, how would we articulate it today, as opposed to, like, son, you better treat your woman right, and do this and that for her, and show her respect, and or else she'll leave you, or don't do this, or don't do that.
We've never said anything garbage like that.
Well, that's a wonderful thing, right? Treat your woman right, but treat people right. Show respect.
No, you better do this or that. Like the way you were describing, you have to be.
I know we haven't,
Yeah.
but society does.
I think we've done a good job with, like, you have to, be kind, respect who she is, but we've also really instilled that they also have to respect who you are. And it's not do things your way and you do things their way, but honor where you're at. I think we've done a better job. I think we've done a better job with Asher than we have with the girls.
Yeah. It's because we're better parents.
Okay.
Because we learned a lot from them girls. But I think the important part for me is, like, respect everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also freedom to be not just who you are and be yourself, but also the freedom to make mistakes.
Yes.
The freedom to mess up, the freedom to say the wrong thing, or to even do the thing that you know is wrong and make the mistake. All of those things are totally okay. And there is redemption, there is forgiveness, there is compassion, there is acceptance of mistakes that all humans make, not just men or women.
Yes.
And if you make a mistake, it doesn't suddenly mean that you're going to lose the love of your life or the woman that you, that relationship that you have, or whatever the case may be. So you don't have to live up to some standard, whether you're a woman or a man, or however you identify. You don't have to live up to any standard that is placed from the outside world. You get to live up to the standards that you agree in your life and your relationships and the people that you surround yourself with. Like, you and I have plenty of agreements that you and I have made, some verbally, some outwardly, some sit down at the table, we're going to come up with a solution. But I think we have a lot of implied agreements as well that we just agree upon.
Yeah.
And we meet those. And when we don't, and when we make mistakes, and when we falter, we can still love one another, and we can still be compassionate, and we can still move through spaces together, as opposed to, well, now everything's in jeopardy and you're a piece of shit, man, or way to go, baby, you totally screwed up and I'm no longer going to, uphold my end of the bargain, or whatever the case may be. What do you think?
I think that is a beautiful thing, but I think it is a very far end of the spectrum. And I think that also can be manipulated and twisted while it's beautiful. And I love it. And I love that we do that. We allow each other to be people. But that can also be, yeah, I made a mistake. What? I'm sorry. Forgive me. And I'll do it again and do it again and do it again. That also opens up the door to, you don't have to worry about being left if you make mistakes. That opens up the door to abuse, which is not acceptable. That it's also the freedom to say, I'm not garbage if I make a mistake. But then you have to be okay with being left too. Oh God, this is so important. And I'm getting pissed off that I cannot get the words. And you just picked up your phone and it irritated me. I'm like, listen to me when I talk.
Oh my goodness.
I know, it is so hard. Okay. I'm also like really close to, like, it is a full moon, and like, I don't know what's an acceptable term. I don't know, like, whatever, my period. All right. It's coming.
It's not
so
coming.
I've got, like, it's going to be here today or tomorrow. Like, we are in the height of like destruction. So, and a full moon, and you picked up your phone, and I was like, motherfucker.
I was listening.
It's okay. I still love you, but God damn it, I'm talking. Give me your attention. Don't think about what you're saying next.
I'm right here.
It's okay. It's a good thing. He's safe, everybody.
What's that? I hear the toilet. I have to go fix it now.
Okay. You are not entitled to forgiveness for everything. You are entitled to self-forgiveness. you get to forgive yourself and you get to move on. And for that to have the weight that you were now shame, you are allowed to heal. You are allowed to do things differently. The people around you may not be there, or they may be. So you should be around somebody that allows you to make mistakes, because you are human. And if you are not allowed to make mistakes, then that's not a healthy relationship. But every person is different, and everybody needs to decide what's right for them on that, and be open to changing your mind, because you will have people that are terrified to make any mistake, that have been very traumatized. And that is a scary situation, that they're garbage. They can't make any mistake. They are afraid to move through everything. So there needs to be balance there. And then you have people that feel like they don't really any make mistakes, that any issue that they do wrong that affects somebody else is all on them, and they need to figure out how to deal with it. So it comes to that middle ground. Yes, be able to make mistakes. Yes, be willing to learn from mistakes. Yes, forgive yourself. Yes, forgive others. But within what feels right for you. And it's different for everybody on what feels right for you. And I get nervous about saying this should be the standard, because who the fuck says? And what's right for you changes. Allow it to change. Maybe this was your situation. This was right for you. And then you changed and it's no longer right for you. That is okay. You do not owe the other person. And vice versa. This is going for men and women. This is complete people, because I do not sit in a world where men are the monsters and women are the victims. Is that the more common? Absolutely. But it does not mean that there is not the opposite side. Like right now, full moon and period coming, like Craig's in danger. Like this could switch. Like I hold my power. I'm about ready to go look at the toilet and go, tink, what you gonna do? So that's kind of upsetting to me. I think that sets a standard of, there was a thing, let's see if I can get it right. Never make yourself small or lay down. Like never make yourself small for anyone, because, oh God, I'm so going to ruin this. It's a sense of never make yourself small, never lay down for anyone, because when they walk on you, you still won't be flat enough for them. They'll be upset that you're not flat enough. So be yourself. Don't be overbearing and like take other people out, but be unapologetically you. There you go.
I love it.
Yeah. Did I get there?
You did wonderful.
I ramble.
Be unapologetically you.
Live out loud.
I love you, baby. Podcast over.
After that rant?
It was beautiful. It was perfect.
People what is the word? Tuned out. That's the word. Words are fun.
Don't.
Be
unapologetically you, Stephanie.
Thank you for listening to my thoughts.
Absolutely. Peace out.
Bitches. Oh, wait. Big question for me. Hold on. Let the fear set in. Okay. Let me get totally ready to either fight, flight, or freeze. Okay, good. I'm activated. Go. I feel like
you're so in love. I can see the inside of your brain.
I'm maybe a little bitter about that. I'm like, fuck you very much.
Fuck you very much.
I'm like, look at that. We sleep under a vagina every night. It's kind of beautiful.